to today's episode of Behind the Screen. Now, there are 13 classes in Dungeons & Dragons, and every single one of them can be powerful in the right hands. But let's be honest, some classes just feel stronger, more versatile, or more impactful than others. Some dominate the battlefield, some carry entire campaigns with their utility, and some struggle to keep up unless they're played really well. So today I'm ranking every single D&D class from worst to first. We're looking at combat power, versatility, survivability, roleplay potential, and how useful each class is in a typical campaign. Now before we start, two things. Number one, this is obviously going to be a little controversial, but remember, it's my own opinion. Feel free to leave your own list in the comments down below. And secondly, just because a class ranks lower doesn't mean it's bad. Every class can shine in the right party and the right story. But with that said, let's start at the bottom of the list. Now coming in at number 13, the bottom of the list, we have the Monk. Now before anyone jumps into the comments with pitchforks, let me be clear. The Monk is an incredibly cool class conceptually. Martial artist, lightning fast movement, catching arrows out of the air, running across water, stunning enemies with precise strikes. The fantasy is amazing. The problem is the mechanics. Monks are extremely mobile. They can move faster than almost any class in the game. They get abilities like Deflect Missiles, Step of the Wind, and Stunning Strike, which can completely shut down enemies if it lands. And at higher levels, they become surprisingly hard to pin down. But the Monk has a major problem. Everything costs ki. Your extra attacks cost ki, your mobility costs ki, your defensive abilities cost ki, and you don't get very many ki points early on, which means in longer fights, Monks burn out quickly. Compared to other martial classes like Fighter or Barbarian, Monks often struggle with damage output and durability. They're fun, fast, and stylish, but mechanically they tend to fall behind the rest of the roster. But while Monk lands at the bottom of the list, the next class is only just slightly ahead. And coming at number 12, we have the Ranger. Now, Rangers are one of those classes that sound incredible on paper. A master of the wilderness, a tracker, a hunter of monsters, the ultimate survivalist. Fantasy is fantastic, the problem is, the class doesn't always deliver on that fantasy mechanically. Rangers definitely have some great strengths. They have solid combat compatibility, especially with archery builds. They have access to spells like Hunter's Mark, which can boost their damage output significantly, and subclasses like Gloomstalker can be incredibly strong in the right hands. And in the right build, a Ranger can absolutely pull their weight. But Rangers also suffer from a big problem. Their abilities are extremely situational. A lot of their features rely on terrain, specific enemy types, or exploration mechanics that many campaigns barely use. So depending on the campaign, some of your class features might barely come into play at all. Compared to other martial classes, Rangers often feel a little unfocused. They're not quite as durable as fighters, they're not quite as explosive as rogues, and they don't have the raw power of some spellcasters. They're good, but they rarely feel amazing. Now coming at number 11, we have the Barbarian. The Barbarian fantasy is incredibly simple and incredibly fun. Big weapon, massive damage, rage-fueled destruction. If you want to play a character who charges into battle and refuses to go down, Barbarian absolutely delivers. Barbarians are one of the toughest classes in the entire game. Rage gives them resistance to most physical damage, which makes them incredibly durable in combat. They also hit hard, especially early in the campaign, and their high hit points make them very difficult to take down. In the early game, Barbarians almost feel unstoppable, but the class does have some limitations. Barbarians are extremely focused on melee combat, and outside the battle they don't have a huge toolbox of abilities. Compared to classes with spells, utility abilities, or high versatility, the Barbarian can sometimes feel a little one-dimensional. So while Barbarians are amazing at one thing, smashing enemies in combat, they don't always have the flexibility that other classes bring to the table. They're powerful, durable, and fun, but they're a bit limited compared to the classes that are higher on this list. Now coming at number 10, we have the Artificer. Now the Artificer is one of the most unique classes in Dungeons & Dragons. Instead of traditional magic, Artificers channel their power through inventions, gadgets, and enhanced creations. They're essentially magical engineers. Artificers are incredibly versatile. They can craft magical items, enhance equipment, support their allies, and still hold their own in combat. Their infusions let them create powerful magic items for the party, which can make the entire group stronger. And depending on the subclass, they can fill multiple roles, support, damage, or even frontline defense. But Artificers also have some limitations. They're half-casters, which means their spell progression is slower than full spellcasters. Their damage output can sometimes fall behind classes that specialize purely in combat, and because they rely heavily on setup and planning, they don't always feel as immediately impactful as some other classes. Artificers are extremely creative and bring a lot of utility to a party, but compared to the classes higher on this list, they usually feel more like a support role than a powerhouse. And coming in at number 9, we have the Rogue, and if there's one thing rogues are known for, it's precision. They don't overwhelm enemies with raw power, they wait for the perfect moment, and then strike hard. Now, rogues bring a lot of valuable tools to a party. Their sneak attack damage can scale incredibly well, letting them deal massive single target damage with just one well-placed hit. They're also masters of skills. With abilities like expertise, rogues can dominate ability checks, making them incredible at stealth, investigation, deception, and more. Outside of combat, they're often one of the most useful characters in the party. But rogues also have some limitations. Their damage relies heavily on landing sneak attack each round, which means positioning and party coordination are extremely important. They also tend to be more fragile than many other classes, especially if they get caught in the middle of a fight, and compared to spellcasters, their versatility in combat can be a bit more limited. Now, rogues are fantastic at what they do, precision damage, stealth, and skill mastery, but they're also very specialized. They shine brightest in the right situations, but they don't always have the same flexibility as the classes higher on this list. And coming in at number 8, we have the Fighter. If there's one class in D&D that represents pure martial skill, it's the Fighter. No complicated spellcasting, no magical packs, no, just training, discipline, and the ability to dominate a battlefield. Now, fighters are one of the most consistent damage dealers in the entire game. Their extra attacks scale better than any other class, letting them make more attacks each turn than almost anyone else. And then there's Action Surge, which can instantly double their output in a critical moment. That ability alone can completely swing a fight. Fighters also have a lot of build variety. They can be archers, heavy weapon specialists, defensive tanks, or even magical warriors through subclasses like Eldritch Knight. And because they're not relying on spell slots or limited resources as heavily as other classes, they stay effective throughout long adventuring days. But compared to the classes higher on this list, fighters can feel a bit limited outside of combat. They don't have the same utility spells, social abilities, or creative problem-solving tools that spellcasters bring to the table. When a problem can't be solved by hitting it with a sword, fighters sometimes struggle to contribute as much. So while fighters are incredibly reliable in combat, they don't always have the versatility that makes some other classes truly shine across an entire campaign. And then coming at number 7, we have the Bard. And if there's one word that defines the Bard class, it's versatility. Bards can fight, cast spells, support allies, control the battlefield, and completely dominate social encounters. They're basically the ultimate jack of all trades. One of the Bard's biggest strengths is bardic inspiration. Being able to boost your allies at crucial moments can turn failure into success and completely change the outcome of a fight. Bards also have access to a huge range of spells that focus on support, control, and utility. And then there's one of the most powerful features in the entire game, Magical Secrets. This ability lets bards learn spells from any class's spell list, which means a bard can suddenly grab powerful spells that normally belong to wizards, clerics, or even paladins. That flexibility is incredibly powerful. But bards aren't always the strongest in direct combat. Their damage output can fall behind more specialized classes, and they often shine more as support and control characters than frontline powerhouses. So while bards are extremely versatile and valuable to almost any party, the classes higher on this list tend to have more raw power or stronger mechanical advantages. Coming in at number 6, we have the Cleric. And honestly, Clerics are one of the most consistently powerful classes in all of D&D. When most people think of Clerics, they think of healers, but that's only part of the story. Clerics are incredibly versatile spellcasters. They can heal allies, control the battlefield, support the party, and still deal serious damage when necessary. Because Clerics prepare their spells each day, they can adapt to whatever the party needs. Clerics also have some extremely strong subclasses. Domains like Life, Tempest, and Twilight can completely change how the class plays. Some clerics focus on healing, some on damage, and some become incredibly durable frontline fighters. And then there's Channel Divinity, which gives clerics powerful abilities tied to their divine domain. Depending on the subclass, this can provide healing, massive damage, or powerful control over enemies. The reason Cleric doesn't rank even higher is that while they're incredibly powerful and versatile, some of the classes above them push the limits of magic and flexibility even further. They're easily one of the strongest support classes in the game, and in the right build, they can almost become terrifying in combat. Coming at number 5, we have the Druid, and Druids are one of the most versatile classes as well. They can control the battlefield, support their allies, summon creatures, and even transform into animals to fight or scout. One of the Druid's most iconic abilities is Wild Shape. Being able to transform into beasts gives druids incredible flexibility. They can scout as small animals, survive dangerous situations, and in some cases even become extremely durable in combat. Druids are also full spellcasters with access to an amazing spell list. They have powerful battlefield control spells like Entangle, Spike Growth, and Wall of Thorns that can completely reshape a fight. Instead of just dealing damage, druids often control how the entire battle plays out. In some classes, like Circle of the Moon, takes wild shape to another level, turning druids into incredible, durable frontline fighters. Meanwhile, other circles focus on spellcasting, summoning, or support. Druids can be complicated to play well. Managing spells, transformations, and positioning takes some experience, but in the hands of a skilled player, druids can become incredibly powerful. Because of their versatility, strong spell lists, and unique abilities, druids easily earn a spot in the top 5 classes in D&D. Coming at number 4, we have the Paladin. And Paladins are one of the most feared classes in D&D when it comes to combat. And if you ever see a Paladin land a critical hit with Divine Smite, you already know why. Paladins combine the durability of a frontline fighter with the power of divine magic. They wear heavy armor, have strong hit points, and can deal incredible burst damage with Divine Smite. When the Paladin decides it's time for something to die, it usually dies. But Paladins aren't just damage dealers though, they also bring incredible support to the party. Their aura protection gives nearby allies bonuses to saving throws, which can be incredibly powerful in difficult encounters. They can also heal allies with lay on hands, making them valuable both offensively and defensively. The reason Paladins don't rank even higher is that they're still primarily melee focused. They're amazing in close combat, but they don't have the same level of versatility or spellcasting power that some of the classes above them bring to the table. But between their durability, incredibly burst damage, and powerful support abilities, Paladins easily earn their place near the top of this list. Coming at number 3, we have the Sorcerer, and Sorcerers are one of the most explosive spellcasters in all of D&D. While Wizards study magic and Clerics receive it from gods, Sorcerers are magic. The Sorcerer's biggest strength comes from one feature, meta magic. This ability lets Sorcerers modify their spells in ways other casters simply can't. They can cast spells faster with Quicken Spell, target multiple enemies with Twin Spell, or even cast spells silently with Subtle Spell. That kind of flexibility makes Sorcerers incredibly dangerous. In combat, Sorcerers can deliver some of the most devastating turns in the game. A well-timed fireball, a twinned hold person, or a quicken spell combo can completely swing the outcome of a fight. When Sorcerers go all in, they can erase the counters. But Sorcerers do also have some limitations. They know fewer spells than most other full spellcasters, which means their versatility can be more limited. They also rely heavily on managing their sorcery points and spell slots effectively. Even with those limitations though, the Sorcerer's ability to bend the rules of spellcasting makes them one of the most powerful classes in the game. Now we're up to number 2 now, and I will tell you right now, number 2 and number 1 can be a bit interchangeable depending on how you play it. But for me, number 2 we have the Wizard, and Wizards are the ultimate masters of magic in D&D. They study it, catalog it, and eventually bend it to their will. The biggest strength of the Wizard is simple, their spell list. Wizards have access to more spells than any other class in the game. That means they can adapt to almost any situation. Need massive damage? Wizards have it. Need battlefield control? Wizards dominate it. Need illusions, teleportation, utility, or problem-solving magic? Wizards can handle that too. In the hands of a clever player, a wizard can completely reshape how encounters play out. And because wizards can keep adding spells to their spellbook, their options keep expanding over time. By higher levels, a wizard can have an enormous arsenal of magical tools. The biggest weakness of wizards is durability. They tend to have lower hit points and higher defense than many other classes. They get caught in the wrong position, things can go very badly, very quickly. I'm sure you've seen the memes of the dies by 1d4 hit points online, and that's pretty much exactly how it is. But even with that weakness, the wizard's unmatched versatility and access to powerful spells make them one of the strongest classes in all of D&D. But the class taking the number 1 spot on this list combines powerful magic with incredible customization and built-in story potential. And finally, taking the number 1 spot on this list, we have the Warlock. Now, I know this is one that's going to surprise some people, but hear me out. Warlocks are one of the most unique classes in all of D&D. Their magic doesn't come from study or natural talent, it comes from a pact with a powerful being. That alone creates incredible storytelling potential. But mechanically, Warlocks are also extremely strong. Their spell slots recharge on short rests, which means they keep casting powerful spells much more often than many other casters. While other spellcasters are saving resources, Warlocks are constantly reloading. And there's the most famous cantrip in the game, Eldritch Blast, one of my favorite spells in the entirety of D&D because it's just plain awesome. and with the right invocations, it becomes one of the most reliable damage tools in D&D. It scales with level, can push enemies across the battlefield, and never runs out. Warlocks also have incredible customization. Between their Patron, Pact, Boon, and Eldritch invocations, two Warlocks can play completely differently from each other. You can build them as blasters, melee fighters, teleportcasters, or utility specialists. Because of their consistency, customization, and strong narrative hooks, Warlocks combine power and flexibility in a way that very few other classes can match. And that's why, in my opinion, Warlock takes the #1 spot on this list. And that is it. That is my ranking of every D&D class from worst to first. Now before the comment section explodes, remember, every class in D&D can be amazing in the right hands. This list is just my opinion based on power, versatility, and overall impact to the typical campaign. But I want to hear your rankings. Do you agree with Warlock taking the #1 spot, or should Wizard, Paladin, or something else be sitting at the top of the list instead? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to see what your list looks like. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. It helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more D&D content just like this. If you enjoyed D&D discussions, DM tips, homebrew ideas, and chaotic stories from behind the DM screen, consider subscribing. We've got a lot more coming. This has been Behind the Screen, where the dice roll low, the panic is real, and the stories are always worth it. I'll see you next session.